Good morning. So in this video, I will try to explain you 5-number summary and z-scores. This is where we left off. So remember, we can find the 5-number summary either with median method or quartile inc method. So quartile inc method is an easier one. That's the one that we're going to prefer. However, if you choose to use the median method, I'm okay with that. By the way, those slides are coming from 3.3. I'm not quite sure what was the slide number, but if you go to 3.3 measures of position, so one way of looking at the measures of position, if we choose to use the median, depending on the shape of our data, that's 5-number summary. It means that our data might be right skewed or left skewed, or there might be some gaps. Anything but not a bell-shaped curve data, then we're going to go with the measures of center as median. And then median is used together with the 5-number summary for measures of position. So to figure out measures of position, we talk about that 5-number summary. What is that 5-number summary? Is minimum, quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, and maximum. So quartile 2 is median, actually. That's the other name for median. Quartile 1, when you find the median of the data, the middle number, after you sort it out, you have a lower end. Median of the lower end is quartile 1. You have your median of the upper end, that will be quartile 3. Right, so I don't think that we need quartile.inc for minimum and maximum, because after we sort the data on Excel, because we're using Excel, we can figure out those. So the way we're going to figure out Q1, Q2, and Q3, we're going to use the Excel command quartile.inc. And after that, we're going to highlight the data. And whatever Q1, Q2, or Q3 we would like to find, we're going to enter those numbers. All right, so I want to show it on an Excel. So this is our McDonald's data. I will be posting that also. So remember, on the first tab, we used the same data. We sorted out, we created the frequency histograms and relative frequency histogram. I created another tab just by copying down the data, and data is sorted out again. Hence, it's going from min to max. All right, so then for our 5-number summary, what are we going to have? We're going to have minimum. So we can say that minimum is 83. Now our Q1, quartile 1, which is the median of the lower half, we're going to start by entering equal quartile.inc. Double click on it and highlight the data. Keep going. Not much. Okay. And then go to in cell, and then you want first quartile. Double click on it, and it should be there. Right. Go up and put a parentheses. Okay, so that's the median of the lower half, which means that we put the data in order. Right. We look at our median, and then on the lower end, lower 50%, we're looking for a median. That's quartile 1, Q1. So Q2, which is another name for median. Right. And there are multiple ways to find the median, as you see. Okay, what's happening? Q2, enter. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. Q2, number 2. I'm going to go ahead and type in quartile inc. Double click. Then get the data from the beginning, from 83 here. All right, enter. You enter the arguments for this function. Okay, so then go into the cell here, comma 2, and close parentheses. So it should be there. So median is that 150.5. So quartile 3, which is the median of the upper end, and then that will be equal quartile inc. Highlight the data, which data you want to find the quartile 3. All right, and then go into that cell. I put my cursor into that cell. So as you see, I'm telling A1 to A50. That's where my data located, comma 3, and that's quartile 3. So median of the lower end, median of the upper end. So these are the 3 components of 5 numbers summary. And then we've got min there, so I need to put maximum also. And maximum is under bottom of the data, 3.8. All right. So that's for the 5 numbers summary. So if we talk about the 5 numbers summary, we are talking about a box plot, doing a box plot of the data. That will be our useful visual to go to. Oops. All right. So I will draw the box plot by hand, but we're not going to ask you to draw a box plot. You can read it on your textbook, section 3.3. So how is the shape look like if we are going to, let me minimize this section. All right. I'm going to use those numbers to draw the box plot to show how a box plot looks like by using your numbers. I can move my thing. Okay. Come on. All right, so let's do it this way. Yeah. It's not. Yeah, it's not. All right. Well, Excel is not working with me. Let's see. All right. Come on. Opens up. Good. Now we want that. So, yeah. Let's make it a little bit smaller. That's all right, and let's move this. Yes, this is really what we wanted. Okay, and I'm going to use these numbers here on the screen to draw the box plot. So I'm going to start with a median. So median is Q2 here, and the value is 150.5. And then I'm gonna go to right. That will be Q3, which is 186.75. Then I have Q1. It's a little bit closer to median. Hence, I'm going like approximately 37 steps over the median to get Q3. I'm going about 28 steps, 28 units to go ahead and find quartile 1. So now that's my box. All right. And then I will have maximum, and then I will have minimum here. So minimum is 83, maximum is 308. All right, so that will be my box plot by having the figures from Excel, placing it. It's not scale, but that's the way it's going to look like. So how and when do we use empirical distribution versus 5-number summary? We have underlined that many times. If you're using empirical rule, it means that we're going with mean and standard deviation. If you're using median, then we're going with 5-number summary, which in there we have IQR. And IQR is the difference between Q3 minus Q1. Okay. Now, what if we use mean? With the empirical distribution in class, we talk about that. There is a 68%, 68%, 95%, and 99.7% of the data locations. How about if we would like to find a location different than these percentages, a location that these percentages won't be able to help us? Then we need to talk about the z-scores. So positive z-score means that data values are above the average. Negative z-scores means that data values is below the average, right? Location of the data. Now, you need to remember two things about the z-score. So the definition of z-score is how far our data point is away from the mean in terms of standard deviation. That's why we use this formula. The most general form of the z-score, the location, relative positioning, it means that data in your hand, mean of the distribution that you are talking, over standard deviation of the distribution you're talking. So that is going to give us the relative positioning of the data. All right, and we call it z-score. And we have a formula in Excel for that. Equals standardize, enter your data value, enter the mean of the data, enter the standard deviation of the data. Okay, so we're going to look at it over an example. So the average vehicle speed is 67 miles per hour on a certain highway with a standard deviation of 5. So standard deviation is given, 67 is given as a mean. On a country road, the country back road, the average speed is 45 and the standard deviation is 10. So we have two types of roads. One of them is highway, the other one is country back, and they have different average speeds and different standard deviation. Josh is driving 70 miles per hour on the highway, but Ashley is driving 65 miles per hour on the country road. So we have two different types of roads and two drivers. One of them is driving on the highway, the other one is driving on the country road. So who's traveling relatively faster? So the idea of this problem, because Josh is driving on a highway, we need to look at Josh's case on the highway limitations. Whatever the highway average speed is, whatever the highway standard deviation is. So we're going to find Josh's relative positioning in terms of highway. We're going to find Ashley's relative positioning in terms of the country back road. So remember, that was data minus mean over standard deviation. So for highway, we have the mean as 67. Standard deviation